What's up, YouTube? It is I, the movie nerd, back to give you guys yet another fun top 10 list. So, as you all know, the year of 2016 is over. It has been over for about 3 weeks now, and we are well into the month of January, and I just saw my first movie of January, Split, and so now I am here to deliver you guys a list that I should have delivered a couple of weeks ago, but I have been very lazy and behind because I'm back to school, and it's my last semester before I finally move out of my house. So without further ado, I'm going to get into the movies that I am looking forward to the most this year, the movies that seek to impress me the most, the movies that will hopefully make the year of 2016 an overall better theater-going experience than the overall craptastic theater experience that was 2016. So without further ado, here are my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2017. So kicking off this list at the number 10 spot is a movie from the evil empire that controls all of our lives, as I love to call them. This studio has got a record-breaking 8 movies coming out this year. That's not counting their business deal that they did with Sony for Spider-Man, and that would of course be the next live-action version to attempt to captivate that audience from the 90s by remaking their animated hits, and that would be Beauty and the Beast. After the smash hit success that was The Jungle Book last year, clearing, I believe, within the top 5 highest grossing films of the year overall. I don't remember if it was top 5 or top 10. I'll have to check that later. Disney has unveiled the next movie that is on their spreadsheet, and that would of course be Beauty and the Beast, directed by Bill Condon, the writer of Chicago. This film sees Emma Watson portraying the live-action version of Belle, who will be enchanted by Dan Stevens' Beast, Dan Stevens being, of course, from Downton Abbey, with a full-on ensemble supporting cast, including Luke Evans as Gaston, Josh Gad as LeFou, Ewan McGregor and Ian McKellen as Lumiere and Cogsworth, Emma Thompson as Mrs. Potts, Kevin Kline as her dad, and then Stanley Tucci, Audra McDonald, and Gugu Mbatha Raw thrown in there somewhere for no reason. This movie, I am really looking forward to, all what I just said aside, I'm really looking forward to it. It looks like it could, of course, capture that 90s nostalgia for me, because that's one of the movies that I grew up with. Here's my only gripe with this movie, though, and that is Beauty and the Beast is not only one of, obviously, the pantheon in Disney's great films that they've done. Beauty and the Beast is a special kind of a film because it is arguably their best that they've ever done. And also, it was the first ever animated movie to be nominated for Best Picture. So if people thought that the original was so great, why do they need to remake it? What is something new that they're going to be able to give to this tale as old as time? See, I didn't have those gripes with The Jungle Book, because The Jungle Book, if you look back, that animated movie from the 60s is not that great, and there was a lot that could have been improved upon by doing a live-action version. But what's going to happen when they do a live-action version of what's already arguably admitted as one of the greatest animated movies of all time? Nevertheless, I am still looking forward very much to this movie, which will be released on, I believe, the second weekend in March, and that is why Beauty and the Beast makes my number 10 spot. Coming in at number 9 is, surprise, surprise, another sequel. Because if there's one thing 2017 didn't learn from 2016, it's to make every single big-budget movie a sequel. But this is going to be a sequel to one of the most unexpected successes of 2014. That would be the action smash hit John Wick with John Wick Chapter 2. Returning director Chad Stahelski directs star Keanu Reeves, this time as he travels to Rome after a former contractor tries to kill him and then puts a bounty out on his life. This film will once, of course, bring back Keanu Reeves, as well as returning players Ian McShane and Lance Reddick as the hotel owner and concierge of the underground of the hotel that masks like the head of this underground international assassin ring, the Continental. But you also get a little bit of Matrix reunification because you get to see Lawrence Fishburne back. I cannot wait to see what John Wick does overseas. If there's one thing that the first movie showed, it's that John Wick is capable of kicking so much ass, it's not even fathomable to the human mind. He's got a new dog this time. Hopefully, the bad guys learn not to kill this dog because, I mean, it doesn't matter what they do. He's still going to kill them anyway, and in the most badass way possible. One of the two directors, David Leitch, is not coming back to this one, but that's because he's already directing Deadpool 2. But the other director, Chad Stahelski, is back doing this one. I'm really excited for this movie. I cannot wait to see where it goes. This could potentially lead to a brand new action franchise that I never knew I wanted, especially considering the fact that Keanu Reeves has never been one of my favorite actors, but he surprised me with the first one. I cannot wait to see what this new movie holds in store, and that is why John Wick Chapter 2 makes my number 9 spot. Coming in at number 8 is a sequel, sort of, but also a reboot, and that would be Kong Skull Island. After 2014 unveiled its new remake of Godzilla, after that awful one back in 98, Warner Brothers and Legendary decided to take what monsters they had left and decided to throw together and attempt to make their own version of a cinematic universe in order to combat Marvel, because as you guys know, everything has to be a cinematic universe now. And because Warner Brothers is currently sucking with their DC cinematic universe, they decided to team up with Legendary and do this combined monsterverse. This was first formed when they purchased King Kong from Universal. Now, as you all know, it hasn't been that long, actually, since we got another Kong movie. As you all know, Peter Jackson directed a remake of the original King Kong back in 2005. However, there were a lot of complaints about that movie, mostly due to the fact that it was a straight remake of the 1933 classic, and so it didn't have a lot to add to the tale, unless you count those amazing visual effects, which, as you know, Jackson is incredible when it comes to those visual effects. But this one is going to be something new, because this one, obviously it takes place in a different decade. It takes place in the 1970s this time, rather than the 1930s, and this film is going to be following a squad of soldiers that are led by Tom Hiddleston and Sam Jackson as they're accompanying John Goodman and Brie Larson and a couple of other guys to this strange island where supposedly a bunch of people have gone missing, and they discover it to be the reign of Kong. Now, as they've already established in some of the new footage, this movie does take place in the same universe as Godzilla. This is as Godzilla, because this is clearly a universe that is inhabited by giant monsters, because as they have confirmed, they are leading up to not only Godzilla 2, but also a Kong versus Godzilla, as well as many other monsters along the way. They've also got another killer ensemble cast with some of the supporting players, including John C. Reilly, Toby Kebbell, Jason Mitchell, and Corey Hawkins, another Straight Outta Compton reunification, as well as a lot of other character stars that I really enjoy seeing. But I'm really looking forward to see a new take on a film genre and a film character that I have seen done to death at this point. I'm really looking forward to see where this film goes. It's got some really intriguing shots so far, some new creatures that I really haven't seen. The director, Jordan Vogt Roberts, I haven't seen his first effort, Kings of Summer, but I've heard good things about it, and so I'm really looking forward to this movie. Godzilla 2014 surprised me. Looking back, it's not as good as I didn't enjoy it looking back as much as I did the first time, but it's giving me even more hope for this one, because if there's one thing I would love to see in my lifetime, I love seeing its monsters smacking against each other. Pacific Rim gave me a taste of that, and now I'm actually going to see it on the big screen. So that is why Kong Skull Island makes my number 8 spot. Coming in at number 7 is a film that is probably going to be lower on my list than a lot of other people's, and that would be SpiderMan Homecoming. After the disaster that was Amazing Spider-Man 2, as well as the hack that leaked most of their upcoming projects that occurred in late November of 2014, Sony was forced to make the deal with the devil and team up with Disney and Marvel, which is what allowed Spider-Man to not only be recast with Tom Holland replacing Andrew Garfield, but to also appear in last year's incredibly critically acclaimed Captain America Civil War, which saw the web slinger teaming up with Iron Man, War Machine, Black Panther, and all the other Avengers to fight Captain America's team. And it is also confirmed that he has a multi-picture deal going forward, which will allow him to appear in Infinity War, as well as continue his own franchise on the side. However, we first have to get his solo entry out of the way, and that would be Spider-Man Homecoming. So, I loved Tom Holland in Civil War. Even though we only got to see like 3 scenes with him, I still enjoyed him more than Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield combined. My reasons for that aside, I thought he was such a new, fresh take that I didn't know that I really wanted, and I'm really looking forward to this film in particular, because it's not going to be another origin story, which if there is one thing that we have gotten sick to death of, it is Spider-Man origin stories. We know what happens. He gets the spider bite, he does the wrestling thing or whatever, Uncle Ben gets shot after the great power with great responsibility thing, he realizes that he was being a dick, and he swears to never again use his powers for personal gain. We get it. Now let's see Spider-Man kick some ass. The good news is that we also have, hopefully, which I'm hoping but not too much for, a great villain with Michael Keaton once again donning a bird suit, like we've never seen that before, as the Vulture in this film. This film's also got a pretty good supporting cast. You got Zendaya, you got the kid who playing his best friend Ned, who I haven't seen him in anything before, but he was kind of cool. He looked kind of cool in the trailers. Tony Revolori is Flash Thompson. I forgot the chick that they got to play Liz Allen, but to be honest, she's probably not going to be that great. Donald Glover's going to be in it. They still haven't announced what his role is going to be. Marissa Tomei's back as Aunt May. Bokeem Woodbine is the Shocker. They're going to waste him. Hannibal Buress is a coach. wasted. But overall, I am really looking forward to this movie. I'm looking forward to seeing what Tom Holland is going to do on his own. I'm also glad to see that Robert Downey Jr. is in this film. Phase 3, this is continuing to show that Phase 3 is learning from the mistakes that they made in Phase 2, which is where continuing with the solo origin stories rather than just having them all team up. We get it. We know what these characters are like on their own. We don't need to see them team up. And I'm glad to see that we're getting Spider-Man not just on his own, but continuing to see that relationship with Tony Stark that was established so well in Civil War. I'm really looking forward to that dynamic. I'm looking forward to seeing what Tom Holland is able to do on his own. See if he can continue that trend of being this incredible character the way he was in Civil War, and yeah, hopefully bright stuff for the future, and that is why SpiderMan Homecoming makes my number 7. Coming in at number 6 is what is looking to be the last installment in one of the most unexpected, amazing franchises of the 2010s, and that would be War for the Planet of the Apes. So back in 2011, when I was a wee little 14-year-old, when I was a 14-year-old back in 2011, I saw Rise of the Planet of the Apes in theaters, and I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. I'm like, okay, this is cool. I like the motion capture. I like what we get. I like what we're seeing here. So what are we gonna get next? Then 3 years later, we got Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and that was one of the best movies I saw that year. That is honestly one of the reasons why the summer of 2014 was so great. Is because Dawn of the Planet of the Apes was not just a great action film. Obviously, it had a ton of action, but it also had a lot of great heart and a lot of great character. Which is why I'm really looking forward to War of the Planet of the Apes, because War of the Planet of the Apes is continuing that trend of following the journey of the apes, specifically Caesar, and seeing his struggles with humankind. And the greatest thing about this franchise is that it doesn't serve just as a straight up lead through. Like, honestly, I have a feeling that once this trilogy is done, you can look at these films and you can look at the original Planet of the Apes from the 60s as two separate things, which is what I'm glad they did. And I really, really am looking forward to this movie because I love Andy Serkis. I'm really, really sick of him, like, doing motion capture, though. Like, I want him to just, like, be able to act. Like, he was great in Age of Ultron. He was arguably one of the best parts about the movie. Let the dude act. But he still kills it as Caesar, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the ending of his story. In this movie, you've got the apes going up against Woody Harrelson. He's leading this group of humans, and it's called War because, as you saw at the end of Dawn, for all of you guys that remember 3 years ago, that movie ended with the army coming down to San Francisco to do war with those apes. So if the trailers have showed one thing, it's that these apes are not going down quietly. They're going to be riding in tanks. They're going to be, I think I saw a shot of an ape in a plane. The rumors that Koba is still alive, I'm not so sure that that's a thing, but I'm really looking forward to see Caesar's last stand. I'm looking forward to see the end of his story. I'm looking forward to see what he does and how he handles himself against this colonel that is played now by Woody Harrelson. I like the fact that they are able to interchange the humans within these movies and still make them great characters and make them essential to Caesar's storyline. And the best part, and the reason why I'm looking forward to this movie the most, is because it's continuing this trend of showing that the storylines are not black and white. That's what I love Dawn so much, is that show that not all the apes are good and not all the humans are bad either. So I'm really looking forward to it. If War is as good as it's looking, this could finally be one of the first great trilogies we have gotten in years. So that is why War for the Planet of the Apes makes my number 6 spot. Coming in at number 5, surprise, surprise, we are back at Marvel because my number 5 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Like I said, with my last entry, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes was one of the movies that made summer of 2014 so great. The other one was Guardians of the Galaxy. This was such an unexpected hit from the studio that had been churning out relative successes since, ever since they started with Iron Man back in 2008. I love the Avengers, obviously, but for the most part, Phase 2 had been pretty weak up until they released the first Guardian. I didn't like Iron Man 3 or Thor 2. Winter Soldier, I really, really enjoyed, but Guardians was just able to present such a fresh, new take on the superhero genre, on the space opera genre. James Gunn coming in, doing his thing, and absolutely killing it. The casting all the way around, Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista, and even though it was just their voices, Bradley Cooper and Vin Diesel, I love these characters, and it's one of those movies where I went back and every time I watched it, like I laughed my ass off the first time I saw it, but every time I went back and watched it afterwards, it just became a better film for me. It was so it had so much heart to it, it had so much crazy energy behind it, and it's making me look even more so to Volume 2, because if there's one thing that James Gunn and Chris Pratt have both promised, is that this one is going to be bigger in scale and a lot more epic, which I am stoked for. If there's one thing these trailers have gotten me stoked for, it's that I cannot wait to see these characters come back. I can't wait to see what they've been doing since the first one. I can't wait to see what kind of new adventures they're on. We got a bunch of new characters coming. We got a bunch of new Ravengers. Yondu is back. Can't wait to see Michael Rooker. But of course, how could I forget? Kurt Russell is Star-Lord's dad. That's right. Kurt Russell got cast as Ego the Living Planet, continuing this renaissance of Kurt Russell like he... With 2015, he made his massive comeback with both Furious 7 and Hateful Eight. He wasn't doing too much last year. He was in Deepwater Horizon, but now he's in Guardians 2, and I cannot wait. I think that is perfect casting right there to make Kurt Russell one of the icons of 80s cinema. Chris Pratt, Star-Lord's dad. I'm so excited to see it. Obviously, Baby Groot is going to steal every scene that he's in. We all know that. We saw that from that trailer alone. Really looking forward to seeing what this movie's going to do, how it's going to both strengthen the Guardian side of things, and also how it's going to propel the Guardians closer to Earth for Infinity War. I cannot wait to see what new songs they've got on that awesome mixed soundtrack Volume 2. I already heard Fox on the Run. I'm listening to that almost every day. So I cannot wait for this movie, but unfortunately, it only makes my spot here at number 5, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Coming in at number 4 is the last entry on this list, which is kind of strange because this is the Marvel entry that not a lot of people, A, know about, and B, are looking forward to as much, and that would be Thor Ragnarok. So, let me explain. So, Thor has arguably been the worst solo series concerning the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, granted, we've got a dozen more ever since the beginning when it started with just Iron Man, Captain America, and the Hulk. We now have Guardians. We now have Ant-Man. We now have Doctor Strange. And going forward, we're going to be getting Black Panther. We're going to be getting Spider-Man, and we're going to be getting Captain Marvel. So, Thor's franchise has arguably been the weakest, considering that I liked the first Thor movie, even though a lot of people didn't, but Thor the Dark World is arguably not only one of the most forgettable parts of the MCU, but also one of the most forgettable movies I think I've ever seen. That being said, this film has got me so stoked because of 2 words, and that being the director that is attached to this installment, and that would be Taika Waititi. Because I saw Taika Waititi's film that he released back in 2014, the vampire mockumentary What We Do in the Shadows, and it is one of the funniest movies I have seen in years. I love this guy's sense of comedic styling. I cannot wait to see what he does with the universe. And also, there's the fact that this isn't just Thor's movie now, this is the Hulk's movie as well. That's right, Mark Ruffalo was confirmed months ago to be appearing and reprising his character as Dr. Bruce Banner. It has been described. This movie is going to be described as a road movie between Thor and the Hulk, as the official plot summary stated that Thor is now stranded on the other side of the galaxy, while Loki and his daughter Hela, played by Cate Blanchett, have dethroned Odin and are planning to take over Asgard. So now Thor has to make his way back to Asgard in order to stop these 2 devious ones and rescue Odin. He's going to recruit the Hulk along the way. They're going to be stuck in Grandmaster's arena for a little bit. Grandmaster's going to be played by Jeff Goldblum. There's going to be a ton of references to Planet Hulk. I know the Comic-Con footage showed definitely a couple shots of Surtur. I think we might be getting Beta Ray Bill in here. Carl Urban is confirmed as Executioner. There's just so much in terms of the mythical and space side of the Marvel Universe that fans have never seen before, that die-hard Marvel fans have been waiting to see for years. Planet Hulk is one of my favorite storylines. I cannot wait to see the type of comedic sensibilities that Taika Waititi is able to bring to this film. And I also have heard some spoilers online that not only will this film tie to Doctor Strange, because if you guys saw the mid-credit scene of Doctor Strange, Thor is going to end up recruiting Doctor Strange along the way to help find him Odin, but also that this film is going to end up leading directly into Infinity War, as I've heard that the last Infinity Stone, the Soul Stone, will appear in this film. So all of these reasons are why Thor Ragnarok is my number 4 spot. Coming in at number 3 is, ironically enough, the first and only actual film on this list that could when I say that, I mean it's not a blockbuster, and that would be the next installment from arguably my favorite working director today, and that would be Christopher Nolan's newest film, Dunkirk. This is a change from the director, as for the most part, for the past 10 years, he has been sticking primarily to superhero films and science fiction films to really test the boundaries of what we know and think of a human being. Examples obviously being Inception and Interstellar. But this is going to be a different take, because this time he is tackling an era that we have never seen him tackle before, and that would be World War II, specifically the Battle of Dunkirk, in which several Allied soldiers were trapped on this beach, attempted to be rescued, and they just could not get out at all. You've got a killer cast between Kenneth Branagh, Tom Hardy, Cillian Cillian Murphy, and Mark Rylance, who I still think stole that Oscar from Sylvester Stallone. You've also got One Direction member Harry Styles. How could I forget him? I have no clue if this guy can actually act. I've never seen him before. I don't really like One Direction that much, but I do trust Christopher Nolan, and I don't think he would have cast him if he wasn't absolutely sure. Chris Nolan is a guy who I have loved every single film that I've seen from him. The Dark Knight is the best superhero movie I've ever seen, and it's one of my top 10 favorite films of all time. I loved Interstellar, even though I know a lot of people hated it. I went back and watched Inception the other day. I loved it. I am so excited to see Chris Nolan tackling an area that he has never tackled before. I think that he is going to make this film into an experience we have never seen before with the IMAX shooting and his style of philosophy and how he's going to apply that to an era of humanity when philosophy wasn't looked upon the way it is now. I am really looking forward to, I think that he's actually going to tackle this from like the British point of view, which is really a point of view that we haven't seen in a World War II film. We've seen it from, obviously from the American side, but we've also seen a little bit from the Japanese side with Clint Eastwood with Letters from Iwo Jima back in 2006. But that being said, I'm so looking forward to this film. I am so excited to be seeing what Christopher Nolan is going to bring to this film and whether his change of genre is going to benefit or detriment him. Perhaps we might finally see a Best Director nomination for Christopher Nolan, considering the fact that he has been snubbed so many times, which is why Dunkirk makes my number 3 spot. Coming in at number 2 is another superhero film, surprise, surprise, but it is the superhero film that I never thought that I would be looking forward to as much as I would be, and that would be Logan. Hugh Jackman's supposed final entry in the series will see him hanging up the claws as Logan will be found in the year 2029, protecting Professor X on the Mexican border after mutants have been wiped out by the Essex Corporation. However, when he discovers a little girl that is revealed to have powers very similar to his, that would be Laura Kinney, aka X-23, as well as a whole host of baddies that are after her, led by Donald Pierce, played by Boyd Holbrook, the leader of the Reavers. Logan, Professor X have to go on the road to protect this little girl at all costs in their one last hoorah. The Wolverine director James Mangold is returned to direct this surprisingly looking rated R, very realistic looking film. Like, when I saw that first trailer, I was like, wait, what? It's basically like the studio literally saw that Hugh Jackman was going on and just be like, okay, guys, you've served us for 17 good years, just do whatever. And James Mangold was like, okay, let's make this into an indie neo-western like Hell or High Water. And my God, does it look great. The action looks great. The shot where he sticks his claws up through the guy. But it's also the fact of we're getting to see Logan. We're getting to see an adaptation of the old man Logan storyline that we never thought that we would want to see. Logan is older. He is wearier. His healing factor is not working as well. He's all torn and scarred up. He's got that beard. He physically looks older. This is not Hugh Jackman looking sexy as hell like he always does. I mean, the dude is showing that he has said multiple times that he cannot physically continue to play Wolverine because the dude's getting up there. He's almost 50. So, that being said, we know that he's going to come back when Ryan Reynolds wants to team up with him for a Deadpool movie. There was a tiny meta moment in the second trailer that popped up, but we know that Ryan Reynolds has extended the invitation. Hugh Jackman has said that he'd be interested. So that's why I say tentatively that this is the last installment with starring Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. That being said, I am so looking forward to this movie. I'm so looking forward to Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart's last hoorah. I'm really looking forward to seeing what this film is able to do in terms of presenting something new with the superhero genre. The tone of the trailers looks incredible. Just everything about this movie has got me so pumped, which is why Logan makes my number 2 spot. And of course, my number 1 spot. Did you guys really ever have any doubt? Come on, it's only the franchise that made a massive comeback 2 years ago and is now, thanks to the fact that it's owned by the Mouse House, the Evil Empire, we are now going to be getting a new installment every year for the foreseeable future, and that would be Star Wars Episode 8, the newest title just being revealed, The Last Jedi. How could this not be my number 1? Not only did The Force Awakens smash theater box office records, and just my own personal record by bringing back the Star Wars saga and having it be an actual good installment, Rogue One came out this past Christmas and gave me something so new from the Star Wars genre that I never thought I would want. I am looking for, honestly, I know that Disney has complete control over all of us, but now they can have control of my body because I am just going to go and see every new installment that they churn out. And Episode 8 is the one that has got me the most pumped. The fact that they got a director like Rian Johnson, who has churned out such massive sci-fi hits who churned out the massive sci-fi hit Looper 5 years ago now in 2012. God, that was a while ago. We are finally going to see the return of Luke Skywalker, played again by Mark Hamill. We're going to see his continued journey and his ties to Rey, how he's going to train her to be a Jedi. We're also, of course, going to see the continued journeys of Finn, played by John Boyega, Poe Dameron, played by Oscar Isaac, Kylo Ren, aka Ben Solo, played by Adam Driver, and unfortunately, no Han Solo, because he was gutted by his son in the last one, and Harrison Ford can finally say goodbye to this stupid franchise. Unfortunately, this film will also mark the last time that we see Carrie Fisher on screen, as she just recently passed away. R.I.P. I don't know how this film is going to handle her character going forward, because from what I knew, she was supposed to have a massive part going forward in the series, not just as one of the big three, but also the fact that she was supposed to be not only the leader of the rebellion, but also have a major part in the formation of this new governing process ever since the fall of the Empire. And she was also supposed to have a final encounter with her son, Kylo Ren, that unfortunately we will not get. The title itself, The Last Jedi, that could of course be referring to Luke, it could be referring to Rey. I've heard a lot of theories that Luke is not making it out of this one alive. Would I be happy with that? No, but would it surprise me? Not even a little bit. Point being, I'm really looking forward to seeing what Episode 8 is able to give me and the new things in the Star Wars universe. I want to see like them explore aspects of the Star Wars universe that we've never seen before. I want to see them dive into the deepest, darkest branches of the Force. And honestly, I don't mind if they tell me who Rey's parents are. If it's going to tie into Rebels, of course it's going to tie into Rebels, because they're going to keep trying to push Rebels for as long as they can. And yeah, Episode 8, The Last Jedi, that is my number one spot. How could it possibly be anything else? So that's it. Those are my official top 10 most anticipated films of 2017. What do you guys think? What are your top 10 most anticipated movies of 2017? Whatever they are, leave them in the comments below. Make sure to click this like button and also that subscribe button. They should be right next to each other. Follow me on Twitter at Movie Nerd Review. Head over to my website, movienerdreviews.com, as well as check out the Movie Nerd podcast. I finally uploaded the latest episode. It is located right here on this channel. I am the Movie Nerd, and I will see you guys next time.